You are listening to the Retina UK Manchester Local Peer Support Group meeting recorded 20th of April 2023.
Welcome everyone to the Manchester Local Peer Support Group for Retina UK. Thursday the 20th of April. We've been running the group now since October 2021. For those that don't know me, my name's Rachel Foley and I'm the lead facilitator for the Manchester Local Group. So thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. It's really good to have so many of you on. I'm now going to pass you over to our guest speaker, Libby Clegg. Libby will tell you the ins and outs of her highs and lows of her journey, her story, and thank you ever so much for joining us.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hiya. I'm Libby and I'm going to be honest, my story is quite long, so please, if you've got any questions at the end or you want me to come back to anything, just let me know. All right. I don't mind answering anything that any questions or anything that you want to know the answer to it later on. I'm visually impaired myself. I've got Stargardt's macular dystrophy. I got diagnosed when I was 9 years old, and I've got no family history of it at all. So it was a bit of a shock to my family, really. And I got diagnosed when I was 9. I'm one of 4, so I'm the eldest. I've got a sister and 2 younger brothers, and I'm from just a pretty normal working family in Cheshire originally, so not too far away from you guys in Manchester. And yeah, I just had a pretty normal upbringing at the beginning. Found out, obviously, I had Stargardt's macular dystrophy. And I found out that I had it because I kept going at school. I was really struggling to read the board in school, and my parents kept taking me to opticians because I thought I needed glasses, and they kept telling me that I was really shy and there's nothing wrong with me, and eventually I ended up getting referred to the Manchester Eye Hospital, and where I finally got diagnosed. So it took a little while and it was a little bit traumatic, but I'm sure some of you guys have got equally similar stories like mine. I know it's not uncommon at all. I first started off in my journey. So I've been a Paralympic athlete now for nearly 20 years, 18 years, so a long time. And I've done lots of different TV bits and pieces. But on my journey, it's taken a long time for me to get to this point where I am now. And it's like Rich was saying before, I've had lots of ups and downs. So it first begun, obviously, when I got diagnosed. I was 9 years old, and I absolutely loved running. I'm quite competitive, even though I was very shy. I'm very competitive. I'm like elbows out kind of girl, getting people out of the way. And I just really enjoyed sports day in school. It was like one of the only classes that I really enjoyed. And basically, my parents decided to take me along to my local athletics club, and it was shortly after I'd been diagnosed. So my actual name is Elizabeth. Not many people realise that, but that's my real name. And everybody prior to me starting running only ever called me Elizabeth. And when I started my athletics group, I had a new identity. I became Libby, and I was obviously Libby that couldn't see very well at training. And that's really where that part of me sort of came about. It sounds a bit strange, but it gave me being somebody else and getting away from school where I was getting picked on, because obviously all this stuff was going on in school where I had classroom assistants and magnifying glasses, and then it automatically came different. Being at the running track was somewhere that I felt like I could just be me, and I didn't feel like I was being judged by anybody. So I've carried on doing a bit of athletics for a few years. I did tap, ballet and modern as well. I love dancing, but over the years, athletics really took hold of me, and it's something that I got more and more involved in. And when I was about 12, I started getting really involved in disability sport, and I went along to British Blind Sport, running events, that kind of thing, and competitions. And I got to meet other children just like myself, and it made me feel really normal, because in school I felt different from everyone else, really. And it was a great opportunity for me to meet other kids just like me that were just normal, everyday kids that just couldn't see very well. And it was a great opportunity for me, and it went hand in hand because obviously I loved running, and it was just really good fun, a great place to be. When I was 12, my parents decided to move up to Scotland. So I moved to the Scottish borders. I moved to a place called Newcastleton, which is literally a dot in the middle of nowhere. And I went to the Royal Blind School in Edinburgh. And basically my parents made the decision to move me because my school were trying to keep me back a year because they hadn't been producing the work quick enough. And I wasn't academically ready for next year. It's just they just hadn't done work with me. They kept putting me in bottom sets and things, so it wasn't a great experience. And that's when my parents decided to make the decision to move up to Scotland. So when I was 12, I moved up there, and I boarded in Edinburgh Monday to Friday, which I have to say was absolute great fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was great. I learned lots of really incredible skills there, so, like cooking for myself. They made us clean our own clothes and bed sheets, and they taught me like mobility lessons and really simple things like how to ask for help, and which sounds so so obvious, but it can be one of the most difficult things to do sometimes, and it just really helped my confidence. Now, while I was in school, I was still running, and I started to get really into it. So I started training more and more often. I went from like 1 night a week to 2, then all of a sudden it was like 5 nights a week I was training. And then like literally it got to the point where I was only having a day off on a Sunday, and normally I'd go and do a little recovery swim. So it wasn't really a day off. And I just really fell in love with the sport. When I was 16, I got selected for my first World Championships in Assen, which is in Holland. And I was 16, and to be honest, I wasn't the most talented person. I just trained quite hard. And basically they selected me as a bit of a wild card because my times weren't particularly good at that point. And it was a great opportunity for me to get onto the world stage. And I seized this opportunity. I ended up massively exceeding my expectations. So I ended up breaking my personal bests by like, in the 100 meters, I think I broke it by 1.5 seconds. And in 200, it was like 2.5 seconds. So really big PBs. And, I really just started to believe in myself. And at that point, the Paralympics wasn't really a big deal. I'd seen it, the highlights on TV, maybe on the news, but Paralympics was really not a thing. People weren't really interested in it. But it was my dream to go to a Paralympic Games. So then 2 years later, I ended up being selected for Beijing in 2008. And it was the same year that I was finishing school. And I ended up winning a silver medal there at my first Games. And it just felt absolutely incredible. It was amazing. It was an absolute dream come true. Very surreal experience. It's really hard to explain the emotions that you feel and just the atmosphere. So that was really the real kick-off start of my running career. And over the years, I've been to multiple Paralympic Games, World Championships, Commonwealth Games. I've won 5 Paralympic medals in total, 2 gold, 3 silver, and broke 2 world records. But I actually ran with a guide runner, so it wasn't just me on my own. I was running with a guide runner, and my favourite one, I have to say, was my guide runner Chris Clark, who I ran with in Rio and in Tokyo. And the easiest way to describe it is like running a 3-legged race but attached at the wrist rather than at the foot. So it's all about getting timing, rhythm, communication, trust. It's all really, really key, important things. But my career wasn't always plain sailing. I had a lot of injuries. I'd had fallouts with coaches and guide runners. Just a general getting up every day, training. It's very monotonous. It's very boring a lot of the time, to be honest with you. It's a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of determination and commitment to just follow through with it, especially when it's rubbish and weather outside and that kind of thing. So for me, in my career and being visually impaired, my sport really forced me to challenge myself, because I used to get major anxiety traveling on public transport, you know, getting the train anywhere or a bus. I used to get so anxious and worked up about it. But doing my sport really helped me, because it forced me to do those things that made me feel like I was going to vomit. You know, when I found out my train was, you know, having to stop in a random place, I didn't know where I was, and I'd have to change trains. You know, all those sorts of things. I felt like, you know, my sport really encouraged me to do that. It gave me a focus and a reason to do it. So it's been, you know, it's been challenges over the years, like I say, different ones for different reasons. One of my biggest challenges that I faced through my career actually was just after Rio in 2016, where I had worked so hard to get a Paralympic gold medal. And at that year I won two. I won the 100 and 200 metres and broke the world records. And it was so overwhelming. I actually really struggled with my mental health afterwards for about 18 months. I just didn't know who I was outside of my sport, and I really, really felt very numb and confused about who I was. And I just didn't know who I was at all. I had no identity other than me being in sport. A few years after Rio, so in 2019, I had my little boy, Edward, and I was still competing at this point and still training. I've just had him, and I got straight back into training again. And I'm going to be honest, becoming a blind mum, I was absolutely terrified, because everybody was telling me that it was going to be really difficult, and you know, I was going to need all this extra help. And you know, I realised at the end of the day, my worries and anxiety was what every other expectant parent was having. It was no different from anyone else. And it was only when I had my son I realised, like, oh, everybody feels like this, you know, just chatting to people, everyone worries. It's just really normal. But I was still doing my sport at this point, and I got the opportunity to go and dance on ice in 2020. So some of you may have seen me on that. And I decided to do that because I knew I was going to finish up running in Tokyo, and I knew I wasn't going to carry on anymore. And I thought, what a great opportunity to get rid of the baby weight. So I did dance on ice, and I have to say it was a phenomenal experience. It looks a lot more glamorous on TV than in real life. It was a lot of hard work, and I was really privileged to work with Mark Hanretti, who was just he's a brilliantly talented ice skater in himself, but he also coaches, so it made my life a lot easier when he was trying to teach me the steps and the right movement patterns and that kind of thing, because he was used to doing it. But I have to say, I do miss getting my spray tan every week and my nails and my makeup done. You ladies will know it's quite nice getting somebody else to do those things for you at times. But yeah, to get to the final was just out of this world. It was not something that I expected at all. And I just wanted to sort of showcase what people with sight loss can do, really. You know, and not to say everybody's going to be, you know, a Paralympic runner or an ice skater, but just to show, you know, that it can be those little day-to-day things that we all struggle with that, you know, make you feel like you've had some success and some achievement. So just wanted to really do that, really show people what we could do rather than everything that we can't do. So I do different bits and pieces, and I'm trying more now. I've retired from athletics now, thank goodness, because my body was falling apart. I'm not going to lie, it's had enough. I'm now 33. I was far too old. The body was telling me it had given up on me. But I now work for Vista, which is a Leicestershire-based sight loss charity, because I want to actually like really give back to people, the sight loss community, and help educate people in what, like, how sight loss affects us, and you know, how people can help us really, without, you know, being patronizing or ignorant. So that's really what I would like to do and what I try and do moving forward, really. So yeah, that is a very whirlwind version of my story. And you know, I don't know whether any of you've got any questions that you'd like to ask me, because I could rattle on forever, but I want to make sure that you get out of this what you want to hear, do you know?
Well, I admire you actually, because Libby, your story is very similar to mine. as growing up, and maybe Rachel can understand this as well. Educational wise, it was very difficult. And you've just got to have that confidence. You've got to find yourself, you know, as you're growing up. It is quite hard when you've got a visual impairment.
It is.
It's hard work,
don't you, as well? You know, you don't want to be different from everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think every person has their own story to tell. Everyone's different, but we've all found our own way. It is difficult.
Yeah, we all cope in different ways, don't we? We all get strength and positivity in different ways, shapes and forms. So supporting each other with groups like this is really, really good. It's good to come together and share. If you're having a good day, a bad day, however you're feeling, able to share it with others that can understand you in one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, when I was at school, we didn't have the support, and you kind of struggled. Even if you sat at the front of the class, it was still hard because all the other children, like yourself, all the other children were just getting on with it. Yeah, and you're struggling. And I found my own way. I couldn't recognise faces, but what I did find I could do was recognise voices. So I picked up on that and used that to my advantage. And basically that's how I got through as well. What's your story, Rachel? How did you cope?
My story, wow, it's a short version. I was diagnosed with RP back in 1996 and then had retesting for genetic testing. As at the time I was in a relationship, married, and we wanted children. And I got retested in 2012 and was diagnosed with Bardet-Biedl syndrome. And I think I found the group VIBs, which is a voluntary community group in Manchester. And I think without them, my mental health would have probably spiralled. I had to finish work in 2017 on ill health grounds. And I took myself into volunteering. So volunteering with Retina UK, volunteering with BBS UK, VIBs, Thomas Pocklin Trust for the Sight Loss Council. I think without that and finding support from others, I don't know where I would be now. And I think because I've had that, like Libby said, she wants to give something back. That's why I volunteer and want to support others going through their journey who may not have the support that's in their area or where they live. You know, someone can listen to you and empathise with you. That for me is massive, and that's why I do what I do with volunteering.
Yeah. I think as well, I think it's so easy to look at other people's lives sometimes and think that, oh, you know, they got it sorted, you know, but actually, like, when you talk to everyone's got the same, you know, come across the same problems, you know, day to day. And it's great to be able to share like coping strategies or little problem solve, or little like hacks, like, you know, little life hacks on how to get through your day to day life, because it is difficult sometimes. And I think it is important, you know, to lean on each other for that support, because we all have different strengths and weaknesses. So yeah,
I have a neighbour at the moment. He's got he's diabetic retinopathy, and I don't think he's coping at the moment. He's not one of these people that can open up. So I'm trying to put him in the direction of this kind of group. Yeah. To try and get him involved with the support.
Yeah, sometimes people may start as listeners and they listen to others, and then slowly, so maybe like you trickle it, eventually they may then want to come along to things more and get involved more. It's like you say, depending if you've accepted it and are ready to accept it.
I think someone was trying to say something then, Rachel.
Someone saying something? No.
No.
I've Rachel, I have a question for
Oh,
Libby.
Yeah, go for it, Pern. Yeah, go on.
Libby, you know when you were doing the Dancing on Ice gig, did you have any experience of ice skating, or, I mean, and how was everyone towards you? Because sometimes, you know, like you said, you always see everything on the screen itself. So what was going on behind the scenes before it was all filmed and when you did your performances?
So, I have to say, I don't like calling them celebrities, by the way. They're just people. So I'm going to call them the cast members. They were all great. They were fantastic with me. I never had any issues with anybody else there at all. Everyone was really supportive and really helpful. And so with production. I had only been ice skating twice before. Once was on plastic ice when I was about 7 or 8, and then another time when I was about 14 with my sister, and it was horrendous. I just stood. I couldn't skate at all. I just sort of stood at the side of the rink for the whole hour. So I had no real experience of being on the ice. And I have to say, I trained. So the minimum standard you had to do was 2 hours a day for 5 days a week. So Monday to Friday, 2 hours, that's all you were required to do. I trained anywhere from 4 to 6 hours up until probably, so this would be from October all the way through till the end of February. And then maybe the last 2 weeks of the show, I was doing 8 hours a day, and that was every day. You only find out what song you're getting on the Monday after the show. So the first week you find out a couple of weeks before, and you have practice and get that first dance right. And then after that, you literally have like less than a week to memorize the next one. And you don't get to pick your song, you don't get to pick your outfit. It's all dictated by production, how you look and what vibe you're going to give. It was really difficult because I wanted to be able to get across about my visual impairment in a positive way, and it was very difficult for me to do that because production had an idea of how they would like it to be on TV versus how I would have liked it to be. I wanted them to come to my house and film me at home and film me doing the stupid things that, you know, that we do occasionally as people with sight loss, the daft things, because that's real life, you know. I didn't want it to be airbrushed. So that was the only thing that really frustrated me. But in terms of all the training and everything, I absolutely worked my butt off. I trained so hard because I just wanted to make sure that we were given a good representation.
So Libby, a question: how did you cope with obviously the guiding? Did anybody guide you around? What was that like?
So actually, Mark, my partner, who I mostly skated with, I mean, he must have had cuts and bruises all over his shins because I was forever kicking him. I was always getting in his way, but he was really good. He never ever made me feel like I was clumsy or anything like that. The only really scary part was when I had to skate on my own. It was one of the challenges, and I obviously couldn't see the edge of the rink, and that was really scary. So I was very, very hesitant and felt very uncomfortable doing it, but I just did it anyway. And I got a lot of hate off people online. Actually, I got a lot of abuse on Twitter, but
yeah, I can only imagine, but well done to you.
It's all right. They're hating on me, they're not hating on another person, so it's all good.
I believe you did one of our friends did the firewalk for Vista. I believe you did the firewalk. What was that like?
I did. Do you know what? It was really good fun, actually. Do you know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So if you guys wanted a fundraiser, definitely look at doing a firewalk. It was really inclusive as well. We had about 5 or 6 visually impaired people that did it, ranging with different levels of sight impairment. And the guy that ran the event was so good. So yeah, it was really, yeah, it was brilliant. It was great fun.
Oh, that's good. See recently that you're in one of the adverts on TV. Yeah.
The Aldi advert.
Yeah. Is that your guide? Is that your guide dog that's in the?
Yeah, that's Hattie. Yeah. She's just retired in the summer, but obviously she's like my little sidekick, you see, so they wanted her in it. But I tell you what, they it was so clever how they filmed that. It was like split screen. So they filmed Hattie first and then filmed me second. Hattie took 15 minutes to do her, but I took 4.5 hours. So you can imagine after that filming all of that, I didn't want any toast for quite a while.
Oh no way. And do
I've
you
not
have
seen
a
that advert, Libby. I'll have to look out for
You'll have
it.
to check it out. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll check it
definitely.
out. So, the little dog, she's a celebrity.
Yeah, Hattie's a celebrity, you see. People are more bothered about her than they are about me. You know, just I don't know if there's any guide dog owners on here, but everybody always remembers the dog's name over your name.
Don't they just?
And do you have a new guide dog now, or
I do have a new guide dog. His name's Bramble.
Bramble?
He's very naughty. Guide dogs have got to come back out.
Oh right, what does
Ran
he?
away from home 3 times in 4 weeks.
Oh no!
No way.
Yeah,
Oh no!
and he's not just like, he's like bolted. So it's not like, you know, I've accidentally left the door open. He's like barged through the stair gate, barged through my living room door, barged through everybody at the front door, and barged right past us through the gate and buggered off down the road. So
And you're left wondering where he is.
where he is, I can't see him, and I've got now my little boy turned 4 last week, so I've got a 4-year-old stood there thinking, oh gosh, what are we doing? Do we need to put my welly bobs on and go and look for the dog?
Is it quite a big dog to barge out the way? Or?
He is a massive guide dog. He's huge.
Right.
He's the biggest guide dog I've seen that's a Labrador cross ever. He's massive.
And did you keep Hattie? Is Hattie still with you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've still got Hattie. So she stays with me. So basically, she's just like 3 months with me, and then she'll go and stay with my brother in Edinburgh for about a month, and then she comes back to me again. And we just do it like that because Bramble's obviously a big boy and he's young, and she does like her own space. So she goes on a little holiday and then comes back down to me again. So I couldn't let anyone else have her, you see. She's my baby, you know.
Yeah.
I think our friend's guide dog might give your new one a run for its money on size.
Oh yeah.
In it range.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Is it a big boy
How
too?
old is he? How old is Brambles?
He's just turned 3.
Oh right. Oh.
He steals stuff off my worktop and off my hob.
Oh, he's naughty.
He's really naughty. If guide dogs hear this, they'll be having a fit thinking, oh no.
Oh, fun and games, eh?
They've got
Fun
to have
and
a
games.
personality, it's important.
Well, yeah. At the end of the day, they
Children,
are still
they
a
never
dog,
are.
aren't they?
Right.
So have you got a guide dog, Rachel?
No, not me. I have my trusty cane. But like Libby
same
said,
as me.
nobody moves out the way normally if you've got the cane or stops to talk. But if you've got a dog, we've got friends who've got the guide dogs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like you said, they'll always remember the guide dog's name and have a good chat with the owners and stuff. But if you got the cane,
Yeah, they're
just
not
carry on.
Well,
It's so true.
when I was training, I was told own your space, and I've always kept that on board.
You've not got a dog, have you, Pam? Yet?
No, not yet. I am fully cane trained. Excuse that. I'm fully cane trained. And maybe you was training actually at the same time, Rachel. So you just started where I was just finishing.
Yeah. I think I was probably 2014, 15, so it's that sort of time.
Yeah. I did a refresher course after the pandemic because I found it very difficult because everything changed so much, didn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, of course it did. And not being able to go out and see people and your confidence as well, you know, gets
went
a bit
through the
knocked down,
window.
doesn't it?
Yeah. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to get up and get out and just do this refresher course, you know, just to get my confidence back.
No, definitely.
You know, it was hard going.
Yeah, I bet, because you've been stuck indoors all that time and got to be careful who you see and what you do and getting back out there. Like, you know, Libby said, when you go on a train and you don't really know the stops, or they don't announce the stops, or you going on the bus or wherever. It is anxious and nerve-wracking, you know. No matter how independent you might be, there's still always times where you have those doubts and thoughts.
Yeah, definitely.
It's true that I did my training in, Rachel, you might know this, Manchester Piccadilly, the station.
Oh, yeah?
I did it there. It was nerve-wracking.
Oh, wow. 14 platforms. Good on you for doing it at Manchester Piccadilly.
I don't like Piccadilly.
No.
I was mentally drained after it, and physically drained. I was concentrating that much. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was glad I did it in Stockport. It's nice and small here.
Yeah, you got the good one. I would have swapped.
Yeah, I bet you would. I'll pass, thanks. Does anyone else on the call that hasn't said anything, want to ask anything to Libby, want to ask any questions in general? Shout up, anybody?
Hello?
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, not Naomi?
Yeah, hi. Sorry about my phone interrupting. Hope it's not been recorded.
It's all right, don't worry. Do you want to ask anything, say anything?
Yeah, I was told a while ago that due to my sight impairment, I've got very bad balance. I remember when I was a kid, I went ice skating, and I literally went round the side. I was nowhere going to go in the middle of the ice skating rink. Like, how did you manage to get balance and like balance yourself on ice? I mean, I'm not very strong when I walk on pavements, never mind ice. And when it's icy outside, I kind of like ground myself and like don't go out unless I really, really have to. And like ice skating, like, oh, like how did you do it? Like, I don't get it.
It took me a long time to get my confidence up. It took me about 3 months from October to Christmas to actually sort of semi-skate on my own. I was terrified. But once you get rid of the fear of falling, you just sort of relax into it.
Just it's not a case of like actually being able to do it mentally. That's what I understand as confidence. I'm thinking about like actually standing up and not falling over. Like on blade, like you're not standing on your flat shoe, you're standing on. How did you manage to balance?
I just kept practicing. It just sort of took me a really long time, and it was just practice. I just didn't give up, and I fell over quite a few times, and had a few bumps and things, but you just get used to it after a while. And I was doing it every single day, so when you're doing it every day, you sort of get used to it. But every ice rink's different as well. So I used to prefer being in Nottingham one, and if we'd go to Coventry, I'd dread it because it just didn't feel the same. But yeah, having that familiarity and that consistency.
Okay, I was going to say if it was me, I'd be like a regular attendant in A&E. So I was.
There was a few of those. It wasn't me though.
What were the costumes like? That they look very for what I can see on the telly, they look very sort of blingy and extravagant. Yeah.
So I'll tell you a little secret. Most of them are recycled from years before, and and some of them are from ASOS, and they just take things away and add stuff to them and adapt them basically.
All right.
I know it's just killed the bubble, hasn't it?
Yeah, they look very glamorous.
Some of them are glamorous, and they spray paint them and put things on them. From ASOS, and they just put diamonds on them.
Oh wow. Yeah. I think the only thing that's missing with that is because it's live, you don't get the audio description, do you, on the show?
No, that's it.
On one side. Has anyone else got anything they'd like to ask or share?
So, just to ask, Libby, when you did Dancing on Ice, what was your favorite routine? What was your favorite week?
Oh, my favorite week was Jungle Book week, the movie week. I did Bare Necessities. That was my favorite one.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was my favorite one. It was just fun, and me and Mark were just being silly. So yeah, that was my favourite week. And I did a really horrible lift where I had to basically wrap my blades around his neck.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was pretty scary.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're very brave.
Honestly, how much trust must he have had in me to allow me to do that, you know?
They did the I didn't see some of it, but you didn't do the what do they call it? Is it the headbanger where they...
I did that
Yeah.
in my skate offs when I was in a skate off with another person. I did the headbanger. Do you know what? It's not as bad as it looks, you know.
Right, does
It's
look
not as bad as it
does
looks.
look quite scary when you're watching it on the telly.
That was easier than the weird neck one I had to do. So yeah, it was good fun though.
Yeah, like you say, you must put your life in the Mark's hands, don't you? Really?
No.
So would you do any other reality shows if they asked you, Libby, or was Dancing on Ice like has it made you want to do any others, or has it made you think that's it?
If I did another one, I'd make sure that I can control the narrative a lot better than what I did in Dancing on Ice.
Okay.
Because, right, you're very conscious about not upsetting the apple cart, right? Because obviously you just don't really know what people think of you and stuff. And I did get a lot of hate online. And I really wish while I was on live TV on a Sunday night, I just said something controversial about people being ignorant. But I didn't want to upset anybody at the time, but I wish I'd said something about people not being educated about sight loss because it would have been the perfect opportunity to. So if I did do anything else on live TV where it was a reality TV show and it is very controlled, I would definitely say something. So I would do it just so I could get, you know,
Your
5
opinion
minutes to say my
across.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would control that a lot more, so people would be better educated in what it is like having sight loss and how it affects people and the different you know, like all the different conditions and just a spectrum of sight loss. I would have explained that a lot better, and I would have made them do things that they, you know, that I didn't do on Dancing on Ice, like come to my house and see me try and, you know, find a needle in a haystack at home, or you know, just things like that, or read my post, and you know, the things that actually people with visual impairment actually really struggle with on a day-to-day basis, real life stuff, rather than the glamorous stuff. So yeah. I definitely do it. I really wanted to do SAS Who Dares Wins because I thought that would be funny.
Yeah.
I don't think
That'd be
give a VI a
interesting.
gun though, would they?
No. And would you do any more? I know you did the firewalk. Would you do any more challenges like that? You don't want to jump out of a plane or anything like that?
I'll pass on jumping out of a plane, but I'm up for doing different challenges. Just don't fancy jumping out of a plane. That's the one thing I definitely don't want to do.
Right.
Don't rope me into that.
No, I don't blame you. I don't fancy that one myself.
Is that the parachute?
What, Naomi?
Is that the parachute thing when you jump off the plane?
Yes.
Oh, that's straight. 20,000 feet from the ground.
Yeah, no, I'm all right, thanks. You can do that.
I'll
pass.
You can do now. Help.
I know I'm visually impaired, but I do not want to be thinking about how far away the ground is.
Plus, also, don't they say if you've got anything wrong with your retinas that doing a jump can actually do damage? I don't know how true that is, but
I'm going to take that as fact.
So it is true. I looked into it for my 30th, and they've said that if you've already got retina issues, then there's more likelihood you've got a retina detachment.
Oh, there you go then.
Oh, there you go. That's our get out clause.
Oh, I can't get at that because I can't see, so it wouldn't damage mine.
Hi, Richard, I nominate you.
There you go, Rich. We've signed you up.
You can do it, Richard.
You can do it on our behalf.
Exactly, yeah.
Does anyone else have anything else they want to say, share, ask Libby, ask anyone on the group?
But talking about doing things for charity, our guide dog group, we did the zip wire line in North Wales, and we raised money for guide dogs. And I tell you what, coming down that zip line over that quarry, oh, it was absolutely awful.
Really?
Yes, I know that one. My auntie did it. You're talking about the one in Bethesda, aren't you? The Zip World.
Yeah, it was Zip World in North Wales.
Yeah.
There was about 50 visually impaired people from our local guide dog fundraising group, and we all went, and we raised quite a bit of money for guide dogs. But it was and there was a video of me, and my husband was describing it to me, and he could see my legs buckling at the end when trying to stand up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so just to tell people with that, basically what it's a 600-foot zip line, but it's like if you're flying, so you're lying like facing down.
Yeah, and in the sort of sleeping bag, which is attached to your back, and you're zooming forward at 70 miles an hour with your arms stretched out, and there's a massive drop into a quarry that's filled with water underneath.
And if you can't swim, you've had it.
It was. I would not do that again. But hey ho.
Well done, though, for doing it.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
I think
I
my
don't mind
eyes
the
were
one.
so scrunched up tight that there couldn't have been any retinal damage because they were so tight.
I think I've seen that one, but I think they do another one where you're actually sat up and you're actually, facing forward, and they shoot you through like the tunnels. I like the look of that. I don't like the look of the one that you've done, because you're face down, aren't you? And that sort of puts me a bit, oh no thanks.
Yeah,
that one is the case at Blarney Festiniog.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah, but no, well done you. And did you raise lots of money for guide dogs?
Yes, I think we did. I think we raised about £30,000.
Oh wow, well done.
Wow, that's amazing. Well done.
Yeah.
There was a lot of us. There's about 50 of us. So there were just guide dogs everywhere and barking and, the wrong dog given to the wrong owner.
Not for me, thank you. Don't do dogs. I've got my stick with my Christmas lights around them.
It was amusing.
So yeah, but the way we sort of try and run the group is we're trying to have a virtual meeting, so that's why we've got one tonight. Then our next one will be face to face in June. The August one will be virtual, and then the October and the December are both at the Waldorf pub again in person. So we've got a variation, because we know some people live further than Manchester and they like to join because they don't have a group in their area, and the face-to-face seems to work because people do like to come together. They like to have a chat, a bite to eat, a drink, whether it be an orange juice, a cup of tea, coffee, or a beer or a wine or whatever, really. That's sort of the variation that we have with the group.
Nice one.
So yeah, hopefully people can come along. So we're 5 to 8. Does anybody have anything else they want to share? Tell us.
Somebody mentioned Site Village Bardet before. Does anyone know when? Does anyone know when the Site Village Birmingham or Central is on? Does anyone know?
Yeah. So Monday the 17th and Tuesday the 18th of July.
Rachel, I'm going to have to leave you now and say goodbye to everybody.
Hi, Pammy.
Oh, thanks, Pam. Lovely to see you.
And thank you, Libby, and I will speak to you soon, Rachel.
Okay, yeah, you've got my details, so just message me if you need anything.
I will. Thank you, Rachel.
All right, thanks, Pam.
Bye, Pam.
Bye.
Thanks, Pam. Yeah, Naomi, it's the 17th and 18th of July in Birmingham, and it's at a new venue. What's it called? Because you'll know, because you've...
It's adjoined to the Aloft Hotel in Birmingham. It's in the east. It's called the east. It's in the east side of Birmingham. But I'll find out. I'm not sure what it's called, but I know it's a new venue.
Yeah, we can share things on Facebook. And if anybody would like any more information about Retina UK, the services they do, they have webinars, they have their conference in June in London this year, Friday to Sunday. If anybody wants more information about the different local groups that they run, the befriending services that they have, you can get their details on the website by visiting www.retinauk.org.uk. So if anyone wants more information, they can get the information on there. People have got my details, and you can message me if you need anything in between the groups. But if nobody else has anything else to say, I just want to say thank you ever so much, Libby, for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you.
They usually email me, but they've not done so yet. But it is early, so I was just curious. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your story was brilliant, very inspiring, and there's been really, really good. So thank you ever so much for joining us. If nobody else has nothing else to say, I'll say thank you all for joining us, and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, Libby.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
you,
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Libby.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Come and join us and meet the Retina UK team at our 2023 Professionals and Annual Conference held this year in London at the University of Westminster, Marylebone campus opposite Madame Tussauds on Friday the 23rd and Saturday the 24th of June. More information and how to register is available on our events page on our website. Thanks very much for your support. We look forward to seeing you there. We hope you have enjoyed this recording. If you have any questions, queries, or wish to leave any feedback, then please leave it in the comments section below. Alternatively, you can send your inquiries to info@retinauk.org.uk. Contact us via the telephone on 01280 821 334 or call our helpline on 0300 111 4000, which is open Monday to Friday 9:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. If you would like to know more about our local peer groups, when your next meeting will be held, or if you wish to get involved in creating your own group, or would like to know more about our services that Retina UK provides, then please visit our information and support page on our website www.retinauk.org.uk and navigate to our local peer group page. Thanks again for listening. We hope to see you again soon. Take care and bye for now.